Unpack, Clarify, Outnumber, Spook。今回は英語の動詞4つを紹介します。英語の動詞の中にも流行り言葉みたいに使われ方が変わってきてるのが結構あります。ちょっと前まではこういう意味だったけど、今は全然違う意味で使われてますというのが多いんですよ。もちろん元の意味をちゃんと残したまま使い方が広がっているケースが多いんですが、意味を教えてもらえないとわからない動詞も、ありますね。これ何？どういう意味？日本語と同じように英語もそうですね。今回紹介する動詞の中では Unpack がまさにそうです。普通は荷ほどきをするという意味で使いますよね。例えば旅行から帰ってきたらまず荷ほどきをするとかですね。I unpack as soon as I get home from a trip。そういう使い方が普通です。でもここ数年でちょっと使い方がその意味が変わってきて結構面白い使い方があるんですよ。さあ Unpack ってどう使うんでしょうか？ So let's learn how to use 4 useful verbs that'll help to build up your English skills. We've got a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. The first verb is unpack. 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 Here's the meaning in Japanese. Unpack can be used in two ways. The first one is pretty obvious. You take things out of a suitcase or perhaps a box. But I want to focus more on the second meaning, which has been used more and more in recent years. I love listening to podcasts on a wide variety of topics, and I've noticed unpack being used by a lot of people when they're explaining things in detail or about to break things down. So instead of saying explain in logical steps, they use unpack. Let me show you visually. In this box, I have a process. And this process is going to teach you how to make a cup of coffee. That is the process. So imagine you don't know how to make a cup of coffee. So I'm going to break it down into 4 logical steps to help you to understand it more easily and clearly. So this is the concept. So I'm going to open up the box. And in the box, I have 4 points. So I'm going to unpack the box to tell you about them point by point. So the first one is this one here. Boil the water. This is the first step. Okay? Next, what do we do? Second step is this one here. We have to prepare the coffee grounds. Now I'm going to unpack the third point, unpack it from the box. The third one is brew the coffee. And then finally, I'm going to unpack the fourth point and explain. The fourth point is serve the coffee. And that is how you unpack a concept, a process, or an idea. The teacher unpacked the poem to explain its multiple layers of meaning. So when you have like a poem, when you're studying language, and a poem has a lot of things included in it, so it's difficult to work out which is which. So the teacher is going to unpack the poem by breaking it down into parts. Part 1, talk about this. Part 2, talk about this. Part 3, talk about this. So he's unpacking it and breaking it down and analyzing in a logical way. To unpack. Let's unpack his comment and see what he's really saying. So like a politician or something, or some kind of business leader, maybe they say something and it's kind of convoluted or it's a little bit difficult to understand. So maybe some kind of analyst or a consultant or some expert, they like analyze exactly what the person said, they unpack it and they break it down so that we can all understand like the underlying message or the hidden voice or like something that he's trying to say, but he's not saying directly. So you have to unpack the comment and really understand what the person is trying to say. Here's a quote from Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Alphabet Inc., which is the parent company of Google.
Look, lots to unpack. Obviously, the main bet I made as a CEO was to really make sure the company was approaching everything in an AI-first way, really setting ourselves up to develop AGI responsibly, right? And make sure we're putting out products which embody that, things that are very, very useful for people.
The second verb is clarify. 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 This is what it means in Japanese. So we use clarify when we want to make something clear. It has its roots in Latin, meaning clear, bright, and famous. Originally, it was used in a physical way for making things clear and removing any impurities, especially from liquids and things like that. Have you ever heard of clarified butter? When the butter has been melted and separated so that the milk solids and water are removed, leaving only the pure butter fat. In Indian cooking, they call it ghee. Here's some I found on Amazon. But in most cases, it's used in a metaphorical way, meaning to make things clear, like in a meeting or when you have to reconfirm a difficult point. Could you clarify which documents I need to submit? I don't want to have to make 2 trips. So in this case, when you're clarifying the documents, it means you're just going to tell the person again, okay, so I need document A, document B, and document C. Okay, thank you. And if you don't want to make 2 trips, like let's say you're going to the immigration office or something, if the immigration office is really far away, you don't want to have to go and then come back again and then go again. I don't want to have to make 2 trips. I want to make just 1 trip. So I'm clarifying which documents I need so I don't make any mistakes. Just to clarify, you're coming to the meeting tomorrow morning, not the afternoon, right? So to clarify is to double check, just to reconfirm that you've not made any mistakes. I just want to clarify which meeting you're coming to. Let's have a real life quote from Rory McIlroy, a professional golfer from Northern Ireland. Right here. He has won multiple major championships and is considered one of the top players in the world.
I wish to clarify that I have absolutely not made a decision regarding my participation in the next Olympics. On a personal level, playing in the Olympics would be a huge honor. However, the Games in Rio are still 4 years away, and I certainly won't be making any decisions with regards to participating anytime soon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. Okay, now, you've got your handouts. Please open to page 4. Yes, everyone got page 4 open? Now, I'm going to be explaining the procedures of how to operate the new printer. Yes. Now, there is a lot to unpack. A heck of a lot to unpack, but I'm going to go through it step by step and make it as easy to understand as possible. I shall leave no stone unturned. Yes. Now, first and foremost, the product number is PX493W. Now, this is an upgrade of the previous version, which was titled PX492W. Ha ha! See, we've gone up a version. It's very exciting. Now, first, I'd like to look at the operating manual of how to power up the machine. Now, so we have to get the switch and go like this, and that is how the new printer operates. Are there any points that you would wish for me to clarify? Wait a minute. Is everyone asleep? The third verb is outnumber. 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 What does it mean in Japanese? This is when you compare two groups, and one group has more than the other. It may be difficult to grasp the concept of this verb, but it's actually one of the most basic English verbs, and I hardly ever hear it being used in Japan. For instance, if I go to a party in Japan, I'm usually outnumbered. What I mean to say is that I'm usually the only non-Japanese person there, so I can say, I'm outnumbered. Now, it's often used in kind of an aggressive way in terms of it being used in a competitive situation, such as in sport, business, war, or perhaps even debate. Let's unpack it a bit more. What the heck? Here is a battlefield. Oh, let's say Army 1 has 100 soldiers, but Army 2 has only 25 soldiers. Army 1 outnumbers Army 2 4-1. Makes sense? College women athletes now outnumber the men in several programs. Let's take a volleyball program, for instance. This volleyball program has 45 women athletes, college athletes, but the men's program only has 22. So the women's group outnumbers the men. There's more women than men. Outnumber. Tourists from abroad outnumber Japanese visitors at some festivals in Kyoto. This is true. There are more overseas people than domestic tourists. Isn't that amazing the way things have worked out this way? So the overseas tourists outnumber the domestic tourists. Let's have a quote from Harriet Harman, a British Labour Party politician and MP since 1982. She's known for advocating women's rights and equality.
Well, if you look at the programme that we're offering, I think that is a future which is fair for women as well as men. We're still heavily outnumbered, we're still 4-1 in Parliament, but we are pioneers. We are forging a new path.
Next up, we've got spook. 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 In Japanese, you'd say, this is kind of a fun one that just has a nice ring to it. I'm sure you know that spook is another name for a ghost. So it's often used in the form of an adjective as spooky. In daily conversation, the word spook is used as a verb meaning to make people surprised or to feel uneasy, just like you would if you think you've seen a ghost. It's also used in the form of get spooked or be spooked, and it's also quite common to use it with out, as in to be spooked out by something. One area that I hear it being used rather a lot is in the stock market. In like, investors were spooked when they heard some information and they sold all their stock in a particular company or industry. The sudden news about the company's layoffs spooked the employees and made them anxious about the future. So if the company employees were spooked, it means, oh, they don't know what to do. They're a little bit scared, a little bit anxious. They're kind of feeling they don't know what to do. So they were spooked. Just like you see a ghost, you are spooked. Oh, so they hear information, they were spooked. And they don't quite know what action to take. A lot of people were spooked by AI at first, but it started to catch on even with the older generation. So like anything which is new, people are always going to be spooked, especially with something which is completely unknown and seems to be incredibly powerful and all-knowing. So I've noticed actually some of the older people in my classes, they've started to kind of experiment using like ChatGPT or Gemini, you know, those kinds of AI services. And they seem really surprised and actually quite pleased with themselves. It's almost like they've made a new friend. Here's a quote from former US President George W. Bush, who used the word spook in a 2011 interview while discussing his horse.
She spooked on me once. I was just kind of enjoying the scenery, and a bird came out of the bush and went caw, and my horse went whoa.
All right, team, listen up. In this building, the target outnumbers us 2 to 1. Yep, that's a lot. But don't let it spook you. Stay calm, stay focused, and move as one. Fear is for amateurs. Confidence is our secret weapon. When I give you the order to fire, do not hesitate. We may be outnumbered, but we will not be outmatched. Let's move in. It's homework time. Now remember, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so and leave a like if you found this video to be useful. Now, please make a sentence using the following words: outnumber, women, yoga. Okay, so put all those 3 words into a nice sentence and leave it down in the comments of this video, and I'll check it as soon as I have some time. Okay, best of luck.